Alright guys, so it's official, Bakhmut is officially under operational encirclement, and it was just a matter of time. So if we zoom in, they've taken the settlement of Yahidne, and let's just click on that. So they're outside the village limits, I guess. Yeah, so basically this places the Russians about 2 miles away from the middle road out of Bakhmut. They already control the road to the north, and they have fire control over the road to the south. And the Ukrainians, in sheer desperation, they've blown a dam just to slow the Russians down, but I don't know how much of an effect that's going to have, since the dam is basically there's like an uphill elevation, and the Russians they have a foothold on the elevated land. So I'm not sure how much the dam is going to slow them down. It's also going to prevent the Ukrainians from being able to retreat. So I just don't really understand the point of it. It's just pure panic and desperation. I think that's all it is. Now, in the east of the city, I've drawn it in here. The Russians are also something like 400 meters away from the Bakhmutska River, and they're steadily making gains, and they're putting pressure on Bakhmut from every direction. This I've just drawn in the last road out of Bakhmut, and to the north, they've also, it seems they've taken most of Dubovo-Vasilivka. So I've drawn that in as well, and you can see they're just pushing in every direction right here to the west. And if we zoom out, they're just expanding in every direction, right? So they're not hesitating at all. The Ukrainians at this point, they should really be thinking about getting out, but for some reason they're not withdrawing their forces. I'm hearing they have something like 10 to 20,000 troops potentially still in the city. And so now that the last road out of the city is under fire control, I mean, it looks as if it's going to turn into another Mariupol. According to some sources, the Ukrainians are trying to hold out because you see further to the west, there's higher ground, right? And the Ukrainians are just trying to set up their defenses. They're scrambling to do that. And so the forces in Bakhmut are trying to hold out as long as they can in order to give their comrades to the west time to set up their defenses. But I mean, you got to think about it, right? Even if 1,000 Ukrainian soldiers get captured, that's going to be a catastrophe, right? If a few thousand get captured, or they make a mad dash to get out of the city at the last second, I mean, that's not going to be good. At this point, they should have already withdrawn over the Bakhmutska River to the west, but they haven't done that, and it looks like it's going to turn into a situation where soldiers are going to be scrambling to get to the other side. They're going to basically crowd the smaller bridges, and that's going to create like a choke point, and the Russians will just pound those areas with artillery, right? So hit them with drones, artillery. I mean, it's not looking good for the Ukrainians, I'll tell you that much. This map right here, it's on Google Maps. It's the map by Weeb Union. And you can see I've drawn out the last road out of Bakhmut. The only difference is he just shows a little bulge here. That's west of Yahidne. And the river, the Bakhmutska River, is right here. As you can see, in some areas the Russians are like pretty much touching the river. At the time of making this video, they could very well be at the river. I would bet they are. And this map right here is the map by Rybar, and you can see he has the bulge as well. And you can see the Russians again are almost at the Bakhmutska River. And another map by South Front, pretty much the same thing. And this map by Deep State, yeah, I just want to show you guys, this is from a month ago. So we're just going to look at the time lapse day by day. You can see that the Russians are steadily pushing west, and in the south they're pushing north. They haven't made very many gains over to the south, if you notice, but they still have fire control over this road, right? But I think one of the reasons for that is Chasiv Yar's right here, and this is a massive, a huge Ukrainian stronghold with a massive amount of armor and troops and everything just built up there in Chasiv Yar. So basically, yeah, so let's go ahead on the 5th of this month. So you could see how they're building up forces around Krasnohora, creating a little cauldron almost. And then eventually they just storm Krasnohora, and then keep pushing, and now we're just here, Berkivka, Yahidne. And you know, looking at this, you would think that the Ukrainians would have basically an open route out of the city, but really they don't, because I mean, the road to the south is under fire control. The road to the north the Russians have taken, and this road right here, I'll just draw it in there actually. Roughly draw that in there, and you could see that the Russians are just really close. Just get rid of this first. Give me 1 second here. Alright, so if we measure it out, I mean, even on this tool, 3 kilometers, pretty much no more than like 2 miles, right? So the roads are under fire control. I don't know. The Ukrainians, I mean, they're putting themselves in a situation where they're going to have to retreat, and they're going to have to go through the fields, and the weather's getting to the point where the fields are going to turn to mud, so they're going to have to leave a lot of armor behind. It's going to be slow going. They're going to get stuck. So I don't really know what the Ukrainians are thinking, but if I were them, I would just get out of Bakhmut. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.